Walk into Home Depot with 500 bucks and you'll find two types of shoppers. The first guy grabs the cheapest drill he can find, convinces himself he saved money, then replaces it 3 times over the next 2 years. The second guy drops serious cash on one tool that'll outlive his mortgage. Guess which one actually saves money? Here's what nobody tells you about expensive tools. Sometimes that sticker shock isn't a ripoff, it's an investment disguised as a purchase. The tool industry has conditioned us to hunt for bargains so aggressively that we've forgotten how to recognize genuine value. But after spending 15 years testing everything from weekend warrior specials to contractor-grade equipment, I've discovered something fascinating. There are tools at Home Depot where spending more money isn't just smart, it's actually the cheapest decision you'll ever make. These aren't luxury purchases for people with more money than sense. These are precision instruments that pay for themselves through decades of reliable service, fewer replacements, and results so good they make cheap alternatives look like expensive mistakes. Starting with something every serious DIYer eventually needs, Milwaukee's M18. Fuel hammer drills run between $169 and $279 depending on the kit. And yes, that's roughly 5 times what you'd pay for a basic drill. But here's what that price actually buys you. These things generate 1,200 inch-pounds of torque, which means they'll power through whatever you're drilling without slowing down, overheating, or sounding like they're auditioning for a death metal band. The brushless motor eliminates the friction that kills cheap drills within a year. Professional framers report these Milwaukee drills lasting 5 to 7 years under daily abuse. Compare that to budget drills that tap out after 6 months of weekend projects. The math suddenly makes sense. $200 divided by 7 years equals roughly $30 per year. Meanwhile, replacing a $60 drill 3 times over the same period costs you $180, plus the frustration of shopping for replacements when you should be working. The battery technology delivers consistent power until completely dead. No gradual fade that leaves you wondering if you should finish this hole or grab the charger. And the metal gear case means dropping it off a ladder results in a few scratches, not a trip to the tool graveyard. But speaking of investments that seem crazy until you actually need them, DeWalt's FlexVolt cordless table saws run between $460 and $600, depending on battery configuration. That's mortgage payment money for what looks like a fancy cutting tool. Except this isn't just a saw. It's a precision measurement system that happens to cut wood. The rack and pinion fence system locks square every single time without the calibration dance that makes cheap table saws feel like gambling devices. You're not constantly checking angles or redoing cuts because the fence drifted. Professional cabinet makers trust these saws to cut parts that need to fit together perfectly, which tells you everything about their accuracy. The battery system automatically adjusts voltage based on load, delivering consistent performance without finding outlets or dragging extension cords. Contractors report running these saws all day on job sites with 0 electrical hookups. The dust collection actually works when properly connected instead of pretending to work like budget models. Your garage stays cleaner, your lungs stay healthier, and you're not spending an hour sweeping up after every project. At this price point, it costs more than some people's entire tool collection. But consider this. How much is your time worth? Every board you don't have to recut because the fence stayed true. Every project you finish faster because the saw cuts clean the first time. That's money in your pocket. Here's where things get interesting for anyone who's ever struggled with cabinet installation or tile work. Self-leveling laser levels at Home Depot range from around $150 to $300, depending on features. These tools project perfectly level horizontal and vertical lines, with accuracy that exceeds what human eyeballs can achieve. Until you try hanging kitchen cabinets using a 4-foot level and a pencil, the value doesn't quite register. Then suddenly, that investment feels like therapy money. These lasers eliminate the measuring and remeasuring that turns simple projects into all-day frustrations. Professional installers use them because time is money, and checking level 17 different times is neither. The magnetic mounts let you stick these things to metal studs, toolboxes, or anywhere you need a reference line instantly. Battery life typically runs 20 to 30 hours, which covers most projects without charging breaks. Compare this to traditional measuring methods, and you'll understand why contractors laugh at penny-pinching tool choices. Now for something that sounds boring until you actually need it desperately. Milwaukee's pack-out modular storage systems start around $350 for the rolling base and a few organizers. That appears to be a fancy plastic box with wheels. Except this system solves the organizational chaos that costs professional contractors thousands in wasted time searching for tools. The beauty lies in the stacking design, where every component locks together securely. Your entire mobile workshop travels as one unit instead of 17 trips to the truck grabbing individual boxes. The heavy-duty wheels handle job site terrain without breaking, unlike cheap toolboxes that lose wheels faster than shopping carts. Weather sealing keeps tools dry during transport, preventing the rust that kills expensive equipment. Contractors report these systems surviving years of daily use in conditions that destroy normal tool storage within months. The real genius appears when you're working on a project that requires multiple tool types. Traditional storage means carrying what you think you'll need, then walking back when you guessed wrong. The pack-out system lets you bring everything, organized by category, accessible instantly. Time savings add up faster than you'd expect. One plumber calculated he saved roughly 30 minutes per day not walking back to his truck, which equals 2.5 hours weekly or 10 hours monthly. At his billing rate, the system paid for itself in weeks. But speaking of investments that seem excessive until emergency strikes, Honda generators at Home Depot run between $900 and $1,500 depending on wattage. That's more than most people spend on appliances, for something you hope to rarely use. Except when the power goes out during that ice storm, this generator becomes the most valuable tool you own. The inverter technology delivers clean, stable power safe for sensitive electronics like computers, medical equipment, and modern appliances with digital controls. Cheap generators produce power spikes that can fry circuit boards worth more than the generator itself. The quiet operation runs at roughly conversation level. Your neighbors won't hate you during extended outages, and you can actually sleep while it's running. Traditional generators sound like angry lawnmowers having territorial disputes. Fuel efficiency delivers extended runtime on minimal gas. During week-long power outages, that efficiency means fewer trips for fuel when roads are hazardous. Professional contractors use these on residential job sites because they won't disturb homeowners or violate noise ordinances. The build quality ensures decades of reliable service. Multiple owners report their Honda generators starting on the first pull even after sitting unused for years. Here's where we talk about something most people cheap out on, then regret immediately. DeWalt's job site table saws with rolling stands run between $600 and $800, which seems outrageous when you can buy table saws for $200. Except those cheap saws are precision instruments like cardboard boxes are furniture. The larger rip capacity handles full sheets of plywood, meaning you're not constantly flipping sheets or making awkward cuts. The rolling stand transforms this from garage-only equipment to portable job site capability. Professional finish carpenters report using these saws daily on location, achieving cuts that rival shop-based equipment. The fence system adjusts smoothly and locks exactly where you set it. Cheap saws require constant tweaking because their fences drift during cuts, turning simple projects into frustrating experiences. Dust collection captures debris when connected to a shop vacuum, keeping your workspace cleaner. The motor provides enough power to cut hardwoods without bogging down or burning material. This consistency means clean cuts every time instead of burning wood, because the blade slowed down mid-cut. At this price, it costs serious money. But consider the alternative. Buying a cheap saw, replacing it twice when it fails, then finally buying the quality one you should have purchased initially. That path costs more money and infinite frustration. But speaking of tools where quality determines everything, premium sliding compound miter saws at Home Depot range from $700 to over $1,000. These represent significant investments, but they deliver precision that cheap saws simply cannot match. The sliding mechanisms use high-quality bearings that maintain accuracy through years of daily use. Cheap saws develop slop in their sliding mechanisms within months, affecting cut quality and requiring constant adjustment. The dual bevel capability eliminates the need to flip workpieces for complex angles. Crown molding installation becomes dramatically simpler when you're not constantly repositioning material. The fence systems allow quick adjustments without tools while maintaining perfect 90-degree accuracy. Professional trim carpenters demand this level of precision because their reputation depends on joints fitting perfectly. The smooth cutting action results from well-balanced blades spinning through quality bearings. Cheap miter saws vibrate enough to affect cut quality and slowly loosen every bolt in the machine. These premium models run smooth enough that you can feel the difference immediately. Here's where serious DIYers and professionals part ways on equipment philosophy. High-end wet tile saws at Home Depot run between $600 and $1,200, which sounds insane for a tool that cuts ceramic. Until you attempt a bathroom remodel with a $40 tile cutter and spend 3 days on a job that should take 6 hours. These premium saws feature powerful motors that slice through porcelain and natural stone without chipping edges. The precision fences allow repeatable cuts within fractions of an inch. Professional tile setters charge premium rates partly because their tools produce flawless results that don't require callbacks. The sliding tables accommodate large format tiles that won't fit on budget saws. The water systems keep blades cool and dust contained, which matters tremendously when you're cutting indoors. One contractor calculated his saw paid for itself on the second kitchen backsplash by eliminating wasted materials from bad cuts. The time savings alone justified the investment within the first month. But speaking of time savings that translate directly to money, premium pneumatic framing nailers at Home Depot cost between $400 and $700. That seems excessive when you can buy basic nail guns for under $200. Except professional framers will tell you the difference becomes obvious after the first few hours of use. These nailers fire consistently without jamming, drive nails flush without adjustment, and operate all day without breaking down. The lightweight housings reduce fatigue during extended use. When you're framing a house, every minute counts. A nailer that fires reliably thousands of times without issues saves hours compared to constantly clearing jams and adjusting depth settings. The depth adjustment systems work precisely and stay locked, meaning every nail drives exactly where you need it. Professional crews report these nailers lasting 5 to 10 years under daily commercial use. Compare that to budget nailers that start having issues after the first major project. Here's something most weekend warriors don't think about until they need it desperately. Professional laser measuring tools at Home Depot range from $150 to $400, depending on features and range. These aren't toys, they're precision instruments that eliminate the measurement errors that cause expensive mistakes. The ability to measure distances up to several hundred feet instantly and accurately changes how you approach layout work. The area and volume calculations happen automatically, saving time when estimating materials. Professional estimators and contractors use these daily because accuracy directly impacts profitability. One carpenter reported catching a measurement error on a deck project that would have cost $300 in wasted materials. The laser measure paid for itself immediately. But speaking of tools that prevent expensive mistakes, premium combination squares at Home Depot cost between $60 and $150. Yes, for what looks like a ruler with a sliding head. Except these aren't measuring tools. They're precision reference instruments machined to tolerances that cheap squares can't touch. The blades stay perfectly straight without warping. The heads lock securely at exact 90 and 45 degrees. When you're building furniture or cabinets where fit matters, having a square you can actually trust makes the difference between professional results and amateur hour. Master craftsmen often own the same square for decades, using it to check machine setups and verify measurements on every project. The hardened steel construction resists wear from daily use. But speaking of workshop essentials that seem overpriced until you use them daily, premium air compressors at Home Depot range from $500 to over $1,000. These aren't the wheezy pancake compressors that take 10 minutes to refill after running a nail gun. We're talking about vertical or horizontal tank compressors that deliver consistent air pressure for hours of continuous work. The larger tank capacity means you're actually working, instead of waiting for pressure to rebuild. Professional contractors use these for framing entire houses, running multiple tools simultaneously without pressure drops. The oil-lubricated pumps last significantly longer than oil-free versions, often running for decades with basic maintenance. When you're in the middle of a project and need reliable air power, that $500 compressor suddenly looks like the bargain of the century. Now for something that separates serious woodworkers from casual hobbyists. Premium router tables and high-end routers at Home Depot range from $400 to over $1,000 for complete setups. These tools transform routers from handheld shapers into precision milling machines. The cast iron tables provide stable, flat surfaces that won't flex during cuts. The fence systems allow micro adjustments for perfect fit. The lift mechanisms enable above-table bit height adjustments without stopping work. Professional cabinet shops use these setups to produce thousands of identical parts with consistency that handheld routing can't match. The dust collection actually works when properly connected, capturing chips at the source instead of coating everything. One furniture maker reported his router table setup paying for itself within the first month through time savings on production runs. Here's where we talk about something that might surprise you with its importance. Premium track saws at Home Depot run between $500 and $700. These look like circular saws on rails, but they deliver table saw accuracy in a portable package. The guide rails eliminate the need for marking cut lines. You simply position the rail and cut. The precision guides ensure perfectly straight cuts every single time. Professional cabinet makers use these for breaking down sheet goods with accuracy that rivals stationary equipment. The plunge mechanism allows starting cuts anywhere on a panel. The splinter guards produce chip-free edges on both sides of the cut. When working with expensive plywood or finished panels, those clean edges eliminate the need for edge banding or additional finishing. The dust collection captures nearly all sawdust when connected to a vacuum. Your work area stays clean enough to eat off, though that's probably not recommended. But speaking of specialized tools that prove their worth immediately, premium oscillating multi-tools at Home Depot cost between $200 and $400. These seem like novelty items until you encounter their first real-world application. The variable speed control allows matching tool speed to material. The tool-free blade changes save time during projects requiring multiple accessories. Professional remodelers keep these tools within arm's reach because they solve problems other tools can't touch. Cutting door jambs for flooring installation without removing the entire casing, removing grout without damaging adjacent tiles, cutting flush to surfaces where circular saws won't fit. The quality models maintain consistent speed under load instead of bogging down like cheap versions. The reduced vibration means extended use doesn't leave your hands numb. One contractor reported his multi-tool paying for itself on the first kitchen renovation by eliminating the need to remove and reinstall door casings. So here's what these tools really represent. They're not expensive because manufacturers are greedy. They're expensive because engineering precision costs money to produce. The real question isn't whether you can afford these tools. It's whether you can afford not to have them. Every project delayed by tool failure costs you time. Every replacement purchase because you bought cheap initially costs you money you could have saved. Professional contractors figured this out years ago, which is why job sites are filled with Milwaukee, DeWalt, and Makita equipment despite budget alternatives existing. These professionals make their living with tools, meaning they've done the math on reliability versus initial cost. The answer is always the same: buy quality once or buy garbage repeatedly. Your choice determines whether you're building a workshop or funding a replacement subscription service. Think about the tools we covered today. They range from roughly $150 to over $1,000 depending on the category. That's serious money up front. But spread across years of projects and countless hours of use, the cost per use becomes remarkably small. A $1,000 saw used weekly for 10 years costs roughly $2 per week. Compare that to cheap alternatives that need replacing every few years while delivering inferior results. Over that same decade, you've spent more money on replacements while dealing with constant frustration and inconsistent performance. The expensive tool actually saved you money while delivering results that make every single project better. Smart tool buying isn't about finding the lowest price today. It is about recognizing genuine, long-term value that pays dividends forever. Walk into Home Depot with this knowledge, and you'll make decisions that serve you for decades.